Hey everyone, it's Jeff Fisher of High School Football America, and I'm joined by the NFC Don Shula High School Coach of the Year Award winner. It is Shane Fairfield from Muskegon High School in Michigan. It's been a couple of weeks, probably almost a month now since he won the award, and he's taken the time to talk to us today. Coach, thanks for taking that time.
Oh, my pleasure. I'll tell you what's the least I can do to help represent the NFL. Wow, what an amazing honor and experience.
Yeah, I think I read in one of the articles written about you. You said you felt like you hit the lottery. Let's start with a little bit of fun, and then we'll get into some football. You're told that you're the Don Shula Award winner somewhere in the middle of January, and then you got to bite your tongue
Yeah, it was.
for a couple of weeks. How were you able to do that?
It wasn't easy. They did allow us to tell immediate family and friends. So it was, not a month later, your family's like, "Oh, you've known this for 30 days and didn't tell anybody," then they write you off. But I have a very good staff, a loyal staff, so I was able to tell my coaches personally, and then to keep it under wraps. And then, of course, my immediate family and my AD, of course, my superintendent and principal. So, but it was January 12th, actually, my mom's birthday.
Oh,
Very unique
nice.
story. Very unique story. My mom had passed, and she was my biggest fan playing football in school. And this is a real wild story, but I don't know how much time we have. But
Go ahead, give it to
so
me.
so so after school, I got a full-time job, and I was taking care of my family. My mom had gotten sick and had MS, and one day we're sitting there watching the Super Bowl, and I was an all-state football player at Muskegon Catholic, and uh, we were sitting there watching the Super Bowl, and she was very emotional anyway at this time. And out of nowhere, as they're doing the introductions for the Super Bowl, she starts crying, and I was like, "Mom, what's going on? It's just her and I in a single apartment with one bedroom and a bathroom at the time." And she's like, "That could be you if it wasn't for me." Feeling like I gave up playing college football or going to college and doing those things to take care of her, um, and then to fast forward to where we are January 12th, when that week when I found out that I was a nominee after I won the Detroit Lions Coach of the Year. Then they put you in. I didn't even realize there was the Don Shula Award, just being naive to just being in my own little world. And They said, "Hey, it's like on a Monday," and they said, if you're a finalist, or like they had a top five or whatever, and they said if you win, you'll know by January 12th. January 12th will be the day that you'll find out. So I get home on the 12th. I was actually hanging out with my youngest daughter earlier in the day, and I was like, "Hey, if we find out today, if I win this award, it'd be on, Mima's birthday." And she had passed in 2012, June 24th. So um, how special would that be? So I get home after work and weight room, and I go through my email and didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. So I go to making my pork chops and gonna eat dinner, and I'm like, it's after 5. So I told my daughters in the living room, I was like, "Well, don't look like I won because it's after 5, and usually people are done working by 5." So I flipped the pork chops. I went back. I said, "Let me check it one more time." So I pulled up in my email on my phone, and sure enough, it was right there on January 12th that they selected me to be a representative and the winner of the NFC, and on my mom's birthday. And at the end of the day, I told Sinea, "Where did I end up at? The Super Bowl." You know what I mean? So
That's
it
beautiful.
turns. My mom was able to look down and see me on her birthday win the award, but yet her son did get a chance to get to the Super Bowl. So yeah,
Wow.
it was a happy day.
Well, the saying is, the good Lord works in mysterious ways. I don't think that's really the case. I think sometimes it's pretty darn obvious, and that's a
Right. Well, thank
special
you.
thing that he gave you there.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about various things with the award and going to the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl and all that. But before we get too far into this, let's talk about the community that you're living in and you coach in. And what a year, right? You win a state championship. That's the 900th all-time win for the program. Tell the viewers around America watching this how high school football, fits into the fabric of the community.
This community, it's history of football and tradition and hard worker. I mean, there's our paper mill was driven here. Our paper mill back in the day helped rebuild Chicago after the Chicago fires, and our paper mill was a huge staple of our community. Brunswick main headquarters is here, and then their main factory was here. CWC, Cameline Cannon. So it was a blue collar, hardworking steel town at times, with a lumber town, and just a great place to be and grow up. A lot of water. You know, we have Lake Michigan, we have Duck Lake and Muskegon Lake and Mona Lake, and surrounded by a bunch of water. And it's a beautiful place to be in our city and our state. But football is a staple. The joke is they call this, you know, Muskegon U. It's like the Alabama of high school football. And you know, you're the winningest program in the state of Michigan. We're the number 6th in the country. So when you play football here at Muskegon, or you coach here, there's a ton of pressure to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. And if you don't, everyone's had success and you'll hear about it, you know. So
Yep.
I'm fortunate to be able to coach. Now this tells you I'm getting older with all the gray hair here, but I'm coaching kids now that I've, you know, parents, and that I've coached their moms or their dads, and their moms were cheerleaders and track runners, and I had them, you know, coach them in track and things like that. So it's just when you are born into this football program in this community, you're expected to work hard, represent. And I use the example of our town and our city as as I watched the movie Unbreakable. You know, there's some negative in every town and every community, and there's some things that, you know, you're not proud of, but it is who you are. It's what makes you who you are. And you take the good with the bad, and there's a lot more good here than bad. And but our football every Friday night and Saturday, and our basketball now is in another tournament run, is what this community looks forward to, and kind of brings everybody together. There can be some tragedy, there can be success, there can be great things, but it's like, you know, 6, 7, 8,000 fans come together, and worldwide. When you look at the webcams and the things that people are, this live streaming, and where it's coming from, and where people are watching us from, and the radio network, and it's just exciting. And sometimes I forget how big it is being on the inside, but wow, it's a wow moment. As a coach, you like wow moments, and coaching here on a Friday night, you know. And I'll share this. I always say that before I walk on the field with our guys, you'll see me standing at the end of the tunnel with the 2 captains in front and a few of them behind them. And I always say, besides the birth of my 2 children, there is nothing or nowhere that I'd rather be. And it gets me more excited than to be here right now with you in this moment. And that just that kind of sums up what Muskegon football is.
Yeah, it's I've learned a lot about the smaller communities, the Massillons, the Valdostas. And by the
Yeah.
way, all of you happen to be in that 900 club, which is a very
Yeah.
exclusive
Yeah.
club. And
People always say to me, how did you know you're going to win 900? And I was like, well, that's why I started out 0-2. I, I did the math, and I was like, all right, let's drop the first 2 so our 900th will be in the state final game. So that worked out perfectly.
brilliant coach, brilliant coach. And of course you get the award, and you're doing these interviews and you're getting all these honors, but at the end of the day, you know, you're the CEO of this, you know, juggernaut of a high school football program. And I've done this with all the coaches that were coaches of the year, and then Coach Lowry, of course, you know, give you a little bit of time here to let it breathe on the guys that make you look good, those assistant coaches. I'm assuming in a program like yours, there's some guys that have been around a long time, either played or whatever. So take as much time as you need here to talk about those guys that helped you win the Shula.
Well, the guys that have been with me the longest was, you know, Don Poole. He's my strength coach, PE teacher, D-line coach. He's worn several hats for this program. He we both started in '99. He came in here at '99. I was coaching at my alma mater over at Muskegon Catholic Central, and new AD came in and hired me in '99 with Dave Taylor, who was the second all-time winningest coach here. And then I was fortunate to pass him. But the guy that hired me in the program, I ended up getting able to pass, you know, with wins. So Don Poole does a great job for us. And then there's Matt Bowles, my O-line coach, coached him in high school. Great O-line coach. He's had several successful O-linemen. We have a guy right now playing for the Seattle Seahawks, and several kids have gone on and had great careers in college and then in the military. Then there's Montreal Dockery, came in 2017. He's my new offensive coordinator, so he's been a new OC for 3 years. He was a defensive back coach and an assistant coach for me in 17 when I hired him in from Adrian College. And then Cam Williams was a player offensive guy who was a longtime freshman coach, and then I moved him to JV. It took me 1 year to watch him work as a JV coach. I brought him up to varsity. Cam Williams, I coached him in high school in '99, 2000. Scott Pedrosi, a kid I coached at Catholic, as my linebacker coach, and coached him in high school. So you're going to see there's a pattern of guys that I coached or coached in this program, or our big reds. Like, and then Lorenzo Rodriguez is a longtime retired coach from Shelby High School in Michigan. He's been now with me. He's been with me for the last 3 years. Van Parker, great college coach, great college player, was a head coach at Muskegon Heights. I was fortunate to get him over here this year. Tracy Lewis. Tracy's been around since 2000. He's another guy that wears several hats. He's a track coach. Also does football. Been in and out of getting kids back and forth to universities. He's worked with Terrence Taylor and Michi and guys like that. So he's a rock. He works in the school district as well. And then I had coaches. My lower level coach is Jeff Brown. He's a big red. I coached his son Khalil Pimpleton. KP played with the Lions, played at Central, went to Virginia Tech, played at Central, went on, and now he's going to play in the CFL, but he played a year with the Giants. So Jeff Brown's my head JV coach. David Davis played for me, played here at Muskegon. He's now just promoted from a ninth grade coach up to a JV defensive coordinator, O-line coach, and then now going to move into some varsity offensive line position this year. He played for me. And then Corey Bibbs, our freshman coach. Corey Bibbs, I always say the toughest job in the program next to the head coach is your freshman coach. Your freshman coach is so important because everybody coming in at the freshman level is a quarterback. And in middle school, these big linemen or whatever get a chance to run the ball or play quarterback or play receiver. And then now you start looking at these bodies and you're going, all right, son, you're never going to play it down a quarterback. And getting those kids to buy in and go, all right, I'll play tackle, but can we sprinkle in a touchdown here and there? And he does an amazing job of his count of, coming in. If he has 33 kids come in, he'll have 30 finish. That's
good.
huge because a lot across the country right now, and especially in our state, a lot of teams don't have all three levels. And he does a great job. So Corey Bibbs, Odell Taylor. Odell Taylor is an O-line guy. He's been with me for the last 6-7 years. Does a great job with the JVs. I've had two coaches, Brent White, who was with me. I coached him in high school in 2002. 2003, he came with me in my first head coaching job. And then he was with me for I can't really tell you how many seasons. And then just recently stepped down 3 years ago to have a baby and took on some other responsibilities, but he still works in our district. Justin Ego left. Justin was a kid I coached in high school. He was with me for all these years. Just last 3 years, he got a head coaching job over at Ravenna High School. So it's good to have these guys that are going off to become head coaches and coordinators at other places. Have another young coach coming up and coming now, Trey Cooper. His son, Peyton Babbitt, plays quarterback for us. He did a really good job this year at the freshman level. So, oh man, I don't want to make
Big
sure I don't miss
staff.
anybody. I do have a good staff. And then there's the Jaquante Smith came over. He was an offensive coordinator in Detroit. Last 2 years he's been with me. Came back. I coached him in 2009, 2010. Played on the state championship team in 2008. He was my outside linebacker coach. Did a really good job with kids and building relationships. So then there's Ted Bartholomew. Ted is my kicking guy. We had a kid this year set a school record for kicks and for extra points. He broke the school record for extra points, and he was number 2 in the state for extra points in a career. Ted Bartholomew. And then I have Brooke as our director of operations. Brooke, she's the one that went to the Super Bowl with me. She was the +1 because of all the behind the scenes. She does a ton of hotel scheduling and recruiting trips and stuff. Like we're getting ready in April to take off and do about 12, 13 college trip.
Nice.
And all that'll be scheduled through her, physicals, the camp dates and transportation stuff. So behind the scenes, so she does a really good job with us. Ryan Peachke now has just left, got another job at another program, but he was with us the last 2 years as an offensive line coach. So I want to say that's pretty much, Ernest Lee came over as a receiver coach from North Muskegon, and he's been here the last 2 years. So his last 2 years here, he's been able to go to 2 state final games. So I definitely know that if it wasn't for all of those guys, and and the biggest reason is not for coaching. You know, you can get a guy um, to coach a position and do drills, set up cones. Anybody can come in and set up cones and run a drill if they look at it on a piece of paper. Those guys are all involved and a part of this program, and the success is the relationships they build with kids.
Right.
That's the hardest thing to get, is people to put their, you know, to be selfless and put their own families on hold sometimes, because, you know, today's day and age, especially coming out of COVID, a lot of kids are needy. A lot of kids have really struggled with mental health, and you really find those things out. And especially in our situation, we have a very unique situation here, and place that we're at. But that's the biggest thing that those guys do, is if anything that they deserve credit for, it's not their football abilities, but it's their willingness to build relationships and love and discipline and be there any time of the day for these kids, and the time they spend with them away from the season. So our coaching staff spends more time with our players away from football than football season. You know, football season, our kids are expected to have coaches there and be there on a Friday night and throw your coaching hat on and your shirt on and bang your chest up and down the sideline in front of 8,000 fans. But it's what you do behind the scenes and the relationships you build with kids. So that's where the true success comes in. All those men that I have mentioned, and ladies, um, it's a hats off to them for, you know, if I could be more proud of them for anything, it's nothing to do with football. Yes, they're good at what they do, but it's the men they are and the mentors they've become in these young men's eyes.
Yeah, for 5 decades of me doing this professionally, I've been preaching that the coaching profession may be the most important in this country, no doubt about it. And you guys definitely don't get enough money. Just divide out the
Right,
time, right? Comes down to pennies on a dollar that you make per
right.
hour. But
Hey, hey, right on.
Coach, let's talk about the Lions and the NFL in general. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about what you experienced there at the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl, but what does it mean to you, your staff, the profession, that the highest level of the game is reaching down into the roots of the game?
That's huge. That means that they really truly understand, you know, in the business of education and stuff, and even in the corporate world, you know, you always see that guy get promotions. You know, I worked in a local grocery store growing up, and you get guys that you work with the third shift and then the grind, and you're going through the hard work, and all of a sudden they get a promotion and they end up on the other side wearing a different colored smock, you know what I mean, or vest, and it's all of a sudden like they forgot what got them there, and they forgot the conversations we had on break about what would make this thing go better. And man, if they would really just see it from our point of view, and it's just not always about this, and it's customer service, it's you know, the realistically, can we get this job done? And then people leave and go on, and all of a sudden they come back, and they just, you know, a year ago we were having breaks together complaining about what was going on up top. Now you're coming down doing the same stuff, and you've kind of forgotten.
Mhm.
You know, so that happens a lot everywhere, whether it's a teacher becoming a principal or a coach becoming an AD. I don't have that issue here, by the way. My AD is outstanding, outstanding. But so for the NFL to not lose touch, I guess is my point, of what's really important to their continued success, is the way they support and care about what's really going on in youth sports and in high school football. You know, football, unfortunately, with lacrosse and rugby and soccer and all these other sports coming out, and I mean, shoot, I think pretty soon they'll start having pickleball in high school. But you look like a pickleball player. You play pickleball, so but just for the NFL, and I tell you what, being involved with them and Roman and everyone and behind the scenes during this, sorry, I gotta go back to class, but um it it to see them, how much they do behind the scenes, because you know, as a fan, you just turn on the TV and then you see the NFL logo, you hear the theme music, and you're like, all right, here's Saturday football, Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football. But you really don't see that they really truly are, you know, and you'll see a commercial here and there about flag football, Football America, and things like that. But man, I tell you what, it really opened my eyes on how much they do really truly care about
Yeah.
the youth in our sport and promoting the sport and making it safer, and So it was really nice to see that. But I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, you did a great job.
Uh,
What was? Do you have a moment or two that stood out during your time of being the celeb that you were? I mean, definitely the red carpet was for you and Coach Lowry, the AFC and the NFC coaches of the year. What stands out in your mind and puts a smile on your face to this day?
Uh, well, I mean, Don Shula, that was, a coach that I was very familiar with growing up with Larry Zonka and all them. And here I play at Muskegon. I coach at Muskegon where there was a quarterback named Earl Morrill.
Oh,
And Earl Morrill
yeah.
he played behind Johnny Unitas and won a Super Bowl with two with the Colts. And then he actually was on that 72 team, I believe it was, with the 12-0 undefeated with Bob Greasy. And I was a fullback, I was a running back. So of course I loved Larry Zonka and what was
Jim
the
Kick,
dude from
Mercury Morris.
uh Jesus, I'll tip my tongue. 44 from the Washington Redskins.
Oh, John
Um,
Riggins.
Don Riggins, Riggle Riggins. So I mean, I was a big fullback guy. So I was a meathead. So that's what I took after. But to know that Don Shula has a football down here signed by him, and with Earl Morrill's name on it for the golden football that they passed out for the 50 years, and that's in our trophy case. And knowing that I'm a representative of that was cool. But just being down there and the hospitality and the respect they had for us. I'm just a high school football coach at times. As coaches, we just think, hey, I'm just a high school football coach. You know what I mean? I get to coach football and I get to pass on life lessons and be a mentor and but they really made it a big deal. They really, it was like there's Peyton Manning and there's Eli Manning and then there's all these coaches, Tony Dungy and all these guys, and then we were like equals. We were like, holy cow. But they eat well. The food was phenomenal. So I said I got to try to win it again next year, but unfortunately you can't. But just the class that the NFL goes with, the amount of flag football leagues that are across the world, the way they're reaching out to the world, and being a father of two daughters and seeing the girls 7-on-7 teams and the youth football teams and the flag football teams before the Pro Bowl and the Pro Bowl, the flag football tournament and getting all these people involved, and then I met a young lady who was actually a professional football player. She plays and coaches and just couldn't make me prouder as a father of two female athletes, that people really truly do care about all genders of football and the game of football and what it teaches. I big advocate for the game of football being a parent. I said in a statement one time that what did it mean to me to be around football, and I said, well, football was a father that I never had. Football taught me lessons in life that I think a father should teach people. And I think if it wasn't for football and going down the road I did and having the mentors in my life as a coach, my daughters would probably not, because I didn't have a father teach me how to be a dad, and there's no owner's manual, really. There isn't. I always tell our kids, you go buy a TV, there's an owner's manual. You buy a PlayStation, there's an owner's manual. You buy a car, owner's manual. You go have this child, this baby, and the hospital hands it to you and says, go home. There's no owner's manual. So football, though, I would think if the game of football is such an important team sport, like family. And I'm not knocking any other sports. I love all sports. My daughter's played four of them each, but football really teaches you struggle and to get knocked down. You truly get knocked down. And it's how you handle yourself. And I don't want to steal Rocky's, you get down 100 times, you get up 100 times, but truly football taught me the life lessons, and I'm using those same lessons that taught me to mold me and shape me to pass along to my team and my individuals. So I think that's what I've gotten from the whole experience of being around them, is how much they care about football, how much and it's not just the tackling, it's not the money, it's actually what football does for our country. I mean, look at it. I mean, is it not the most popular game or TV televised thing in the world, is a Super Bowl?
Definitely.
And it just fed down to college and then the high school level. And it was crazy that these NFL guys, I know they're busy, and I know that they are getting asked all the time for autographs. So, but once I mentioned to them that hey, I'm Shane Fairfield, I'm a high school football coach, and man, their whole demeanor like changed and was like just focused right on me. It's like the attention they gave me. I'm like, man, you're multimillionaires, you know what I mean? I'm just a high school coach. And it was like, oh, where from? Who do you coach? Where's that at? All these. And I was like, wow, what a, you know, and that just tells you what type of players that the NFL are putting into their
Yeah.
organizations, you know? So they're not just robots and they're not just humanless that are just making a ton of money. These individuals who are being taxed for a lot of their time, put a lot of time into their profession, really truly care as well. So that was a thing that stood out to me was the class that the players handled themselves with and to represent the NFL, which then means that's the NFL standard.
Yeah. Last question for you. You also had a chance to rub elbows with the other 31 coaches, of the year from the various teams and all that throughout the process. I'd like you to put on maybe your ambassador's hat, and you kind of touched upon it throughout the interview, but and I said it myself, the coaching profession, especially at the high school level, is just critical in so many different ways. Talk a little bit about what you learned with your brethren, and then finally just summarize, where you think we're all headed with the great game of high school football.
Um, I hope we continue to, educate people on the concussion thing and the game is safe. And, um, my daughter played it up until she realized, I'm a big, I'm not one of those that if I'd have had sons, they would have played. I'm not one of those that, well, the game's not safe enough to play. My sons can't do it, but, yours kids can. I just really, truly think that the direction that they're going and what I've seen behind the scenes with the collars that they're inventing, the helmet safety, the tackling circuits, the importance of that, and the education that they're putting into it. I think we're heading in the right direction. I still would like to um, see if we could get a deal to help the programs in the country that don't have as much money because these helmets are not cheap.
Right.
Just finding ways that we can all work together to get the cost so every kid can get in, the best helmets that are out there, because they offer like 3 or 4 different styles and you go through the VT testing, Virginia Tech's huge and the concussion protocol stuff. But seeing that was like a conversation everywhere I went at the Pro Bowl and at the Super Bowl. Every luncheon that we went to, it was always about safety and youth. So I definitely know they're very conscious of it, and I would like to think that I still have a secure job in the future, that the football's not going anywhere. I just know that we all need to take time out of our day. If I learned anything from the NFL and being around them, is I still need to do more. I can do more to reach out to our lower levels to still continue to do more safety things and promote our sport as a head coach. I know winning games, winning championships does that promotes yourself, but I think me being more vocal and more involved in the youth sports areas, go around to camps and go around to the lower levels and be seen more and share my experiences and educate parents and have more parent meetings and just a drop in and a Q&A about our sport is how I can help and what's really fired me up to continue to do what I do to help the NFL continue to do what it does, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Did I,
certainly
did, I,
does.
did I hit you on that all right?
Yeah, you got me all the answers I needed in that one, no doubt about that. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you taking the time. Personally, having done this for 50 years at the high school level, that's what I love. That's where my wife and I have kind of made our living. We respect the heck out of you guys. So thank you for everything you've done through the course of time, and obviously what you've given back to all the kids. I couldn't let you name every kid that made
Right.
this award
Right.
for you,
Yep.
but we know they're out there. And last but not least, how do you think Mom thinks you did? Think she Do you think she's smiling down on you?
Oh, she's definitely smiling down on me. She's definitely smiling down on me. I want to make sure one thing here that I have done, and that is make sure I got every single coach named here. I got so many. If I could do that, but as I'm looking for this real quick, I definitely want to say um, I definitely would like to say, so I got Don, Matt, Ted, Montrell, Tracy, Cameron, Ernest, Van, Lorenzo, Traquante, Ryan, Scott. Yeah, I've got everybody in there. And then my
Good.
AD, my trainers, my athletic trainers, Zach and Ted, quick, awesome, my AD. But if I could real quickly say to the players and educators, teachers, we've started this thing now at our school where when we do signing days, we have a teacher who's made a huge impact on our student athletes, introduce them for their signing now, because we really want to tie in the educational part of it, and that's another thing that the NFL was huge on when I applied for this position was, how do we treat education and academics. But to thank you to every teacher that's out there, in our district, our school, who has taught and teaches young men and ladies. Thank you for what you guys do. Thank you to every player that has played here in this program, whether I got a chance to coach you or not coach you, whether I have, you've been a part of those 900 wins and those losses. Thank you for everything you've done. A special thank you, because this is, I felt when I received this award, I accepted it as a program award. This is a Muskegon High School, Muskegon, the city of Muskegon, state of Michigan award. And for that, I was very honored. So thank you for your time, your wife, and for what you guys do for promoting this wonderful sport. And I hope this isn't the last time you and I get a chance to talk.
Yeah, it won't be, but again, congratulations.
Thank you so much.